Part 12. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 111. In the next few days, Taoran and Dingyi had little interaction. She felt disgusted with Dingyi and was too lazy to socialize with him, so she tried to avoid him. For several days, she stayed at her parents' home. They ate well and drank well, enjoying family time during the day, and doing exercise and drinking in the evening. During this period, they had a dinner date with Hao Jiajia and her lawyer brother, and also went to a class reunion. She spent all the money she recovered from Dingyi on financial management. On the weekends, she took her family to stay at a farmhouse for 2 days, hiking and boating, and had a great time. Yang's father, Yang's mother, and the old man didn't have a good look on Dingyi, so that several times when Dingyi came to his door, they directly issued an eviction order without letting him in. Yang Yu became more and more homeless. Dingyi, who wanted to perform well, had nowhere to show his enthusiasm. After a few days, he no longer wanted to stay at home. No, for several days in a row, he stayed at Qiao Qiao's place until late at night before going home. Qiao Qiao is so good, gentle, considerate, and understanding. As soon as he gets home, he gets his slippers, takes off his coat, the vegetables are cooked for him, and the rice is served for him. He doesn't need to wash the dishes. He even peels the apples and puts them in his mouth. He even gives him a back rub when he takes a bath. From the hall to the bed, he served me well. Only with Qiao Qiao did he feel that he was an upright man. Of course, there are things that make him unhappy. For example, Qiao Qiao became more and more greedy and asked him several times when he was happiest, "When will we get divorced?" Divorce? What distance? He hasn't received the money yet. Now that he's divorced, won't all his efforts over the years be in vain? He still had to find a way to win the trust of the Yang family again and make Yang Yu calm down. He has paid so much, and the Yang family's property must be his. Women, they have to step aside. Wait a minute. You know, Yang Yu and I have a lot of joint property, many of which are my hard work. Now that we are divorced, half of it will be divided by Yang Yu. How can that be done? Give me some time, I have to take care of myself. Deal with. How much is half? According to the current housing prices, Yang Yu would be worth 1 million or hundreds of thousands. So many, Qiao Qiao gasped. House prices were cheap the year we got married, and I had a good eye. The area I was interested in doubled in just 4 years. Brother Yi, you are so awesome. Qiao Qiao looked admiring. Dingyi was very helpful. He never mentioned that he had not paid a penny for the house. He also completely forgot that the housing prices in the entire capital had almost doubled in the past few years, which had nothing to do with him. You said, with so much money, you can't just get Yang Yu's advantage, right? Well, Brother Yi's hard-earned money must be clearly divided. So you have to wait for me with peace of mind. For how long? I'll take care of it as soon as possible. Do you still have feelings for Yang Yu? She and I were just young and frivolous, impulsive. Now that I have woken up from the dream, I have you by my side, and I have no regrets in this life. You are the first woman I fell in love with, and the only woman I have ever loved in this life. Be good, everything I have is yours. I will be responsible for you, and I will definitely let you live a good life in the future, buy you a big house, buy a luxury car, let you eat well, wear good clothes, and enjoy being a young mistress. Qiao Qiao was easy to manipulate. With a little coaxing from him, she fell in love with him even more, and she fell in love with him. In contrast, what worries Dingyi even more is money. It's really not enough money. The 20,000 yuan he gave to Qiao Qiao, after paying the rent with 3 mortgages and 1 mortgage, and purchasing daily necessities, there was basically not much left. On the weekend, he dressed up in sequins and drove Qiao Qiao to Lingxian County for a day. He went to the mall and watched movies, ate seafood, and had sex. It was comfortable, but it also hurt his wallet. There were more than 3,000 left on him, but in the blink of an eye there was only 1,000 left. So in the past few days, Xiao Xiao asked to go out to play several times, but he always put him off. Playing what? Anything fun? Can't you eat it at home? Isn't it fun at home? Doesn't it cost money to drive? So he spent 30 to buy 2 slices of steak, a cauliflower, a bottle of ketchup, and a handful of noodles from the market, and a bag of bread from the cake shop, and it was a so-called Western meal. I added 2 flowers to the garden at work, brought candles from the last power outage, and bought a bottle of cocktail at the supermarket for 10 yuan, and the mood was established. A pirated/copy disc was downloaded online, and the movie was also available. This romantic candlelight dinner only cost less than 50 in total. Didn't it also coax that bumpkin Xiao Xiao to the point of hugging him and kissing him? What a docile and lovely woman. He pretended not to have a wallet with him that day, and Xiao Xiao gave him $2,000 as an emergency. However, Xiao Xiao is easy to coax, but her mother at home and Huang Yakan in the village are more difficult to deal with. Especially Huang Yakan, who not only called twice a day to ask for money, but even went to his house to ask for it. His mother called and cried, urging him to get the money out quickly, saying otherwise she would go to Beijing to hide from the debt. Ding Yi was extremely irritable. In desperation, he had to borrow 20,000 yuan from his colleagues for emergency relief. 10,000 was given to Huang Yakan, and 5,000 was given to Ding's mother first, which stabilized them. But after repaying Xiao Xiao 2,000 yuan and buying a skirt for Xiao Xiao because of his inflated self-esteem, he found that he only had more than 2,000 yuan left. The weather was getting hotter and Xiao Xiao asked to buy an air conditioner. He opened his mouth but couldn't say no. You love her, but you don't even buy her an air conditioner? Xiao Xiao's small home was like a bottomless pit, with water, electricity, and gas bills at one moment, and money for firewood, rice, oil, and salt at another. Not to mention anything else, the food expenses are quite large. He was a little depressed. He was living the same life as before, but why didn't he think that these trivial things were so expensive? Who can afford this expense? For emergencies, Ding Yi could only go to the bank to apply for a credit card with a limit of 20,000, which finally relieved some pressure temporarily. He imitated those male protagonists in TV dramas and coolly put the card into Xiao Xiao's hands and asked her to spend it. Xiao Xiao's adoring look once again made Ding Yi feel elated. He liked this feeling so much. But the next day he started to feel uncomfortable. From time to time, text messages pop up on my phone. Your credit card with the last number XXXX spent an amount of 3,080 at 9:15 on April 20th. 10 o'clock consumption amount 300. 11:35 consumption amount 1,580. 11:50 consumption amount 200. The numbers that popped up from time to time stimulated his nerves repeatedly. Ding Yi couldn't pretend to ignore it. He couldn't help it, so he called Xiao Xiao and asked what he was doing. I bought an air conditioner. I can install it tomorrow so it won't get too hot. The microwave at home broke, so I bought it together. You said the bed was too hard, so I bought a mattress and gave you 2 pillows. I went to the shopping mall you said you would take me to last time. Didn't you say that you like XXX brand the most and buy a set every season? I found that specialty store. They have new models and they have a set that will suit you. It was supposed to be a 40% discount, but I spent an hour there, and finally bought it for you at a 55% discount. I also got a jacket and trousers and 2 pairs of socks. In the end, it only cost 1,580, which is better than what you wore last time you went back to your hometown. The set is much cheaper, and it will be more respectable to wear it. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 112. Ding Yi has something to say. A full stomach. He wanted to say, turn on the fan when the weather is hot. Just get used to the hard bed board. If the microwave breaks, fix it. I have clothes to wear. Who the hell asked you to spend this money? Don't you know that money is hard to make? But listening to Qiao's coquettish and begging for praise, he couldn't say any of these words and could only get stuck in his throat. After all, it's all for him, isn't it? After all, in her eyes, he was a successful person, so how could he blame her? She is a woman who cares for her wholeheartedly, and I cannot break her heart. But, it's so uncomfortable. Heartache, want to cry. Ding Yi never worried about spending money before because he knew he didn't need to worry about money. He can eat and drink well because it is not his money. As for wearing famous brands, just occasionally, isn't that to save face? Most of his daily clothes were bought for him by Yang Yu and Yang's mother. Let him spend 1 or 2,000 to buy a set of clothes. Are you crazy? Are those clothes inlaid with gold? That's nearly half a month's salary. Ding Yi hung up the phone in confusion and continued to do some mental construction for himself to calm down. But the text message notification tone is still ringing. Now 300, now 200, now 500. He pressed the calculator on the table back and forth. The numbers jumped up, and his temples jumped with them. Seeing that the number was about to exceed 10,000, he couldn't bear it anymore and called again. It turned out that Qiao bought him another electric iron and bought a lot of things for herself. After buying clothes and lipstick, sunglasses, and shoes, I said I also bought 2 pairs of nice underwear to show him tonight. However, Ding Yi's heart was not even a little bit charming. He only felt pain. What a coincidence, I'm very hungry now. No, 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 it's not the kind of hunger you think. I'm really hungry. You go buy groceries. Tonight I want to eat stewed elbow, beef with soy sauce, and make some old duck soup. Here are 2 more vegetarian dishes. Yes, I want them cooked by you. I really want to eat the dishes you cooked. He just wanted to send Qiao home quickly and find something for her to do. Well, let her cook the hard dishes. While waiting for dinner, he would think of a way to educate her properly. In this way, she won't have time to fuss about it, and her cell phone can always go away, right? But why, the text messages on the mobile phone still jump every once in a while. It turned out that she bought a pressure cooker, a casserole, a soup pot, and an induction cooker. She also said that since she was preparing so many dishes, she also needed a bottle of wine. Also talking about supermarket activities, recharge 2,000 and get 100 free. She went to apply for a local phone card, which cost 200, and asked him if he wanted to open the internet for the rental house. He is still speechless. Still open the internet? So what's next? Does she also want to buy a laptop? What can she do? Still playing computer games? Can't you watch TV? Life is really expensive. In this way, the quota of 20,000 yuan was used in just 1 day, and only more than 8,000 yuan was left. Ding Yi felt so distressed that he was a little scared. He felt slightly regretful. He is too impulsive. Only now did he realize that he might not be able to support this Qiao. It's all Yang Yu's fault. Took away his savings. Otherwise, his life would be wonderful. Qiao, I can't be with you at home every day. It's so boring for you to be alone. Do you want to find a job? That night, Ding Yi hinted at Qiao several times but didn't respond. He could only give his suggestions bluntly. But Qiao shook his head. I have no skills or a high degree. When I look for a job, I can only do manual labor. I can earn more than 1,000 yuan a month. But brother Yi, what you earn alone is worth 10 to me. Instead of going to work, I might as well take good care of you. Right? Ding Yi was choked. Once again, he was speechless. When he was at the police station a few days ago, he regarded Xiao Xiao as a life-saving straw, so he boasted that he had been promoted again and could now earn 10,000 yuan a month. With a monthly income of 10,000 yuan, not only Xiao Xiao but also several police officers looked at him twice. He is a man who spits and nails, how can he slap in the face in front of a weak woman who admires him? So, looking at Xiao Xiao's innocent eyes and her white thighs that made his heart melt, he swallowed his words again. Colleagues at work began to urge Ding Yi to pay back the money. In desperation, Ding Yi changed his bank and applied for a credit card. After cashing out, he returned the money to his colleagues. Ding Xia called him that day and said that she could no longer stay in her hometown. She was scolded by her mother's family and disliked by her husband's family, so she planned to bring her husband to the capital to find a job. Ding Yi knew as soon as he heard that she was still doing it for money. He and Yang Yu haven't reconciled yet, and Ding Xia's arrival won't do any good, not even a place to live. When the time comes, he can't just ignore the young couple, right? But if he took care of it, wouldn't it cost a lot of money? If they find Xiao Xiao, this will be even more troublesome. Depressed, Ding Yi could only give Ding Xia 2,000 yuan, which temporarily appeased her. He has no money again. Why is this money just like running water? The family and the village are still asking for money, and Ding Yi is under increasing pressure. This was not the way to go. Thinking that the company would pay wages in a few days, Ding Yi decided that he had to coax Yang Yu into peace quickly. He knew that Yang Yu had recovered enough to go to work these days. Although he hardly sees Yang Yu when he is at home, he can go to her work to block people. On this day, when Yang Yu and her colleagues just walked out of the office building after get off work, they saw Ding Yi waiting there holding a large bouquet of roses. Yu, I'm here to pick you up, he said affectionately. Yang Yu's colleagues all cheered. Yang Yu smiled, said goodbye to everyone, and got into Ding Yi's car. Ding Yi was a little proud. He knew that Yang Yu wanted to save face. In front of so many people, no matter how reluctant you are, you will endure it and not make others laugh. No, it's done. Yang Yu didn't say he was going to his parents' place, so Ding Yi drove the car home directly. Although Yang Yu ignored Ding Yi along the way, he felt satisfied. This was already a good start. After arriving home, Ding Yi took the initiative to buy food and cook. Tao Ran directly ordered a takeaway. By the time Ding Yi arrived home from shopping for groceries, Tao Ran had already finished eating, locked the door and returned to her room, and warned Ding Yi that she had not been sleeping well recently and not to disturb her by making noises. Ding Yi was angry, but he didn't dare to show it. After simply eating a bowl of instant noodles, he didn't even dare to watch TV. He didn't dare to answer Xiao Xiao's call, so he could only press send message to explain. Lonely and hateful, he didn't dare to go out, so he just slept in the guest room for another night. The night passed. When Ding Yi prepared breakfast the next day, Tao Ran had already returned from running and told him that he had eaten. She was still cold, but she didn't refuse Ding Yi to send her to work. I'll pick you up after get off work. Tao Ran still didn't refuse. When he got off work, Ding Yi bought flowers again and waited downstairs. Amid the cheers from their colleagues, the two went home together. Although Yang Yu still refused to eat the food cooked by Ding Yi and still entered the room early, her attitude was a little gentler than the day before yesterday. The two finally had a few words of conversation. She also watched TV for a while in the living room. Ding Yi felt that the relationship between the two was slowly repairing, and he was becoming more active and well-behaved. If you have a monthly ticket, feel free to vote for a chapter, Babies I Love You. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 11:11. Chapter 113. On the third day, it was still the same. Ding Yi struck while the iron was hot and showed enthusiasm. He even bought snacks and fruit takeaways for everyone in Yang Yu's office. In front of everyone, Yang Yu's attitude became better again. At least she ate an orange from Ding Yume. On the fourth day, Yang Yu drank Ding Yume's yogurt, asked him a few questions about Ding Xia and Ding's parents, and said I'm sorry. The two of them went in and out together, and Ding Yi spent almost all his time after work on Yang Yu. The fifth day was the weekend. When sending Yang Yu to work in the morning, Ding Yi asked tentatively, saying that they hadn't dated for a long time. Would they like to go out to dinner and watch a movie tonight? Yang Yu looked at him for a while and raised his eyebrows. You haven't played with your children for a long time, haven't you? Yeah, I miss Xiaorui so much. Take Xiaorui for a walk, drive to the countryside, find a farmhouse, bring my parents and stay for 2 nights. Okay. I'll make the arrangements. I'll make sure everyone is happy. It's a worthwhile trip. The ice and snow in his wife's attitude gradually melted, and Ding Yi suddenly became happy. This is his chance to perform. As long as the Yang family calms down, everything will return to where it started. Very good. At noon that day, Yang Yu and her colleagues were returning to their work after dinner, when they met a slim, good-looking, fashionably dressed woman. Here you go, the fish you caught is finally hooked. Yang Yu didn't squint his eyes, just pretended he hadn't seen her and passed her by. Obviously, the woman was very unhappy and actually chased after him, blocking Yang Yu, and then showed a provocative smile. Who else could this person be besides Chiao Chiao? Yang Yu, long time no see. Who do I think I am? I haven't seen you for a few days, and the village girl has turned into a young lady. Tao Ran couldn't help but laugh. Well, not a fake smile, a real smile. Finally here. It was not in vain that she had endured the scumbag for a week, but Sanner finally couldn't hold it in any longer. Tao Ran motioned to his colleagues to go back first. Chiao Chiao saw this and couldn't help but ridicule. You're just a talker. If you weren't afraid, why were you so anxious to get rid of your colleagues? Sure enough, city people are hypocritical and want to save face. The grassland above them could only swallow their anger. Stop talking nonsense, what are you talking about in front of me? Didn't you get beaten enough last time? Haven't you learned enough to remember it? Tisk, tisk, Chiao Chiao clapped her hands with a proud look on her face. Although the capital is Yang Yu's territory, the wider Yang Yu's connections here, the more restrained he is for the sake of face. I was bullied by her before, and now it's time to take it back on my own behalf. I know you are thick-skinned and lie without drafting, but I didn't expect that your psychological quality is so good. Your man has given you such a cuckold, and you are still so calm? After all, you are from the city, you can really bear it? You want to save face? It's a pitiful person who has to suffer. Hey, you want to hit me? Come on. I'm standing here and you hit me. Do you dare? Beat her. If you beat her, it will cause a big fuss. She will call the police. She will cry and make a fuss in front of Yang Yu's company to see who is shameless. Let's see if they get divorced. Tao Ran looked at Chiao Chiao's stupid look and found it really funny. You really want me to hit you? But I am a reasonable person, why should I hit you? Aren't you really curious why I am in the capital? It was Ding Yi who brought me here. He said he couldn't live without me and begged me to be with him forever. What should I do? We are each other's first love and have always loved each other deeply. I don't know if you understand it, but I must tell you that love is the most uncontrollable, unconstrained, and most reckless and involuntary thing in the world. So you can do anything in the name of love? Tao Ran he. How many romance novels, movies, and TV dramas have these 3 children seen to be able to say such things? How many children have been poisoned by those plays? Qiao Qiao wanted to see Yang Yu's painful and resentful expression, and even deliberately turned around in a circle. Look, does my dress look good? 1080, Ding Yi bought it. My perfume, from France, costs 800 for a small bottle. What is the color of my hair? Ding Yi said that this color suits me very well. Qiao Qiao has been observing Yang Yu. She was a little confused. When Yang Yu saw herself, she wasn't surprised or nervous. Why did she still not react when she heard that he was so stimulating to her? Won't she be angry? This shouldn't be the case. This bracelet was a gift from Ding Yi. He said it was a token of love. I said it was too wasteful, but he said he would buy me one with diamonds when my salary rises. Do you think he is too extravagant? Already. He was afraid that I wouldn't have money to spend, so he specially applied for a card for me and let me swipe as I pleased while he paid. My bag was given by Ding Yi. It was bought from Hong Kong. It's a big brand. Do you know it? This necklace. She pulled at her collar, revealing several red marks gnawed by dogs. Qiao Qiao's goal was never achieved, and Yang Yu acted calmly from the beginning to the end, and it had nothing to do with him. Finished. Aren't you angry? I understand. Are you so arrogant? Don't you just want to prove that he paid the money and you sold your body? So what are you showing off? Are you deliberately provoking me in the hope that I will call the police and arrest you? Yang Yu, what are you pretending to be? Are you so angry that you are going to die? You can really bear it? I thought you were so noble, but you turned out to be so hypocritical. Ding Yi said that the only one he loves in his life is me. You, but what should I do? You are so nonsense, so arrogant, so willful, and so rampant, what man can tolerate you? Tao Ran smiled. Please take the trouble. Who am I has nothing to do with you. Since you like to point fingers at me so much, let me remind you. Let me put it this way, in my opinion, the relationship between you and Ding Yi is just a piece of shit. A dog relationship. No matter how smelly the shit is, if you see it on the road, the dog will inevitably get angry. This is instinct, nature, and the instinct to subconsciously take possession of it. Just like a dog who wants to urinate and occupy a territory when he sees a telephone pole, it's just greed in his bones. It doesn't mean how delicious the shit is. Do you understand? Qiao Qiao was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood, but she squeezed her fists to force herself to calm down, and then laughed. Ding Yi is a dog, what are you? This is the first time I heard someone put himself. I'm just a dog owner. Ding Yi is the dog I raise. That's all. Qiao Qiao really didn't expect Yang Yu to say that. Ding Yi, such a capable and outstanding person, was belittled by this woman. Yang Yu, how can you, a college student, say such things about your husband? It's really. Don't believe me? Wait. While there is still time, I will let you see if my dog is obedient. How he pleases his master. Tao Ran dialed Ding Yi's side and pressed the speakerphone. In less than 3 seconds, the call was connected. Qiao Qiao's eyes widened and she was no longer calm. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 114. Qiao Qiao has been in a panic recently because Ding Yi has been avoiding her. She was a little worried, afraid that she was just a toy that men would throw away after they tasted the taste. Ding Yi hasn't been to her place this week. He said that because he returned to his hometown a while ago, he had to put down a lot of work. Recently, he had a promotion opportunity, so he had to perform well and work overtime every day. She's so bored. She was an unfamiliar place in the capital and had no one to talk to. Who else could she turn to besides Ding Yi? Her residence was close to his work. No, On Monday she thought Ding Yi was working overtime and made dinner to surprise Ding Yi, but she walked around the parking lot and didn't see Ding Yi's car. She went to the doorman to ask. Although the doorman said he didn't know who Ding Yi was, he was sure no one was working overtime. Therefore, it was Ding Yi who lied. Qiao Qiao called Ding Yi, but Ding Yi didn't answer. After an hour of anxiety, he texted her back and said he was busy working overtime. Qiao Qiao's displeasure and sense of crisis arose again. And in the next 2 days, Ding Yi didn't look for her. Especially after get off work, he doesn't even answer the phone. At noon on Wednesday, she blocked his way to work, and he came out to have lunch with her. It was also a coincidence that while eating, Ding Yi's phone rang. She saw the name, it was Yang Yu. But Ding Yi actually got up and went out to answer the phone. How? Is it inconvenient for her to hear you? Qiao Qiao followed him out and heard Ding Yi asking what he wanted to eat at night. He will go shopping. What fruit does he want? The yogurt seems to be gone. She was shocked at the time. Didn't the relationship between Ding Yi and Yang Yu deteriorate? Ding Yi was caught by Yang Yu, and Yang Yu treated Ding Yi like that? How could they still reconcile? Why is Ding Yi so humble? Why does he love Yang Yu so much? More pampering than yourself? Didn't he say that he and Yang Yu were just having fun? Is he lying to Yang Yu or to himself? Also, it's impossible that Yang Yu didn't notice what she did to the suitcase. Didn't she lose her temper? No trouble? Not looking for trouble? How could Yang Yu be so calm? That Yang Yu is too awesome, right? It must be Yang Yu. She didn't want to lose to herself, so she used some charming method to bewitch Ding Yi just like before. Since ancient times, heroes have struggled with beauty. This is a war between two women. Qiao Qiao himself imagined hundreds of thousands of words of the story. If she didn't want to lose, she had to do something. On Wednesday afternoon, Qiao Qiao went to Yang Yu's unit. She originally wanted to wait for Yang Yu to show off her skills after get off work, but before she could wait for Yang Yu, she saw Ding Yi standing there holding a large bouquet of flowers to pick Yang Yu up from get off work. The two got into the car with a smile after being laughed at by a large group of people. Ding Yi smiled with crow's feet and helped Yang Yu open and close the car door. He was extremely attentive and did not forget to say hello to Yang Yu's colleagues before leaving. It's too glaring. Qiao Qiao was hurt. And Ding Yi lied to her that day and said he would continue to work overtime. He said that he would go to accompany her on the weekend. Qiao Qiao was very sad, but she was hit by a strange man. The man looked so good, but he was so mean when he spoke. Ugly people tend to do mischief. The contemptuous look in his eyes was exactly the same as when Yang Yu caught her and looked at her that day. What? She is ugly. What was wrong with her? She grabbed the man and asked him why he said hurtful words. Bumpkin. Earth. Are you calling her stupid? Qiao Qiao couldn't help but reflect, is there really something wrong with her own image? She immediately went to the mall. She used her card to purchase 2 designer suits and a pair of high heels. While buying a complete set of makeup, she also asked the salesperson at the cosmetics counter to teach her how to put on beautiful makeup. She made up her mind that from now on, she would shine brighter and surpass Yang Yu. Also, she had to break up those 2 people no matter what. Ding Yi must be divorced quickly. For property and other things, just half. Half of it could be more than $1 million. As long as those who guard Ding Yi can make money later. That Yang Yu, let her take advantage. Last time Yang Yu made such a fuss in the countryside, his temper was evident. Qiao Qiao felt that as long as she stood in front of Yang Yu like that, even if she did nothing, Yang Yu would definitely explode, definitely make trouble, and definitely not give up on Ding Yi. On Thursday and Friday, Qiao Qiao dressed up beautifully and fashionably for 2 consecutive days to stimulate Yang Yu. But Ding Yi actually went to pick up Yang Yu every day. She had absolutely no chance to show up. Until this morning, she received a call from Ding Yi. He said that he had to go on a business trip over the weekend and had no time to come to her and asked her to find something to do on her own. Qiao was furious and deliberately said that she was sick and wanted to see him. But Ding Yi said that there was a pharmacy downstairs and asked her to buy some medicine. He also said that he had no time, not even time to eat. Later, when Qiao called him, he stopped answering. She couldn't stand it anymore. It must be stopped immediately. When she was off work and there was no one around, she would go there at noon. So, today she is here. Everything is going smooth. I just didn't expect that Yang Yu didn't take her seriously at all. And the call she couldn't get through to Yang Yu only rang twice before the guy answered it. Ding Yi's joyful voice came through the loudspeaker. Yu, I just wanted to call you. I was looking at the information about the farmhouse. Should we stay in the same hotel these 2 days or 2 separate hotels? I saw a pretty good hot spring hotel. Let's go there for a day. Let's just relax. There is a sea of flowers around there, and I'm going to take pictures of you. Do you still remember that photo of you wearing a garland when you were a sophomore in college, and that photo of me falling in love with you at first sight? I miss that time so much. It's up to you to decide this kind of thing. Tao Ran was very indifferent, while Qiao's face turned pale. The person on the other end of the phone is still mean. Yu, what else do you want me to arrange? Tell me, I'll take care of it all. His flattering tone made Qiao even more stunned. Nothing, I just wanted to ask if you have eaten. You haven't eaten yet? What do you want to eat? I'll come over and eat with you. Wait for me there at the cafe downstairs in your unit. I'll be right away. I want to eat Wangji dessert on the street next to your workplace. I'm going to line up now. But we have to wait in line for half an hour, right? It's only half an hour. As long as you want to eat, I have to wait all day long. Just wait for me. But we have 80 minutes to go to work. We can't eat together after you finish shopping, and you will still be late. It's okay. I'm asking for leave. Work is not as important as my wife. I bought it and sent it over. It only takes an hour at most. It doesn't matter if we can't eat together, as long as you are full and happy. By the way, the flying girls in the office asked, where did the cake you bought yesterday come from? Do you like it? Then I will bring it with you. Tell Sister Faye that I will invite them to have afternoon tea together today. Yu, I miss you. I bought you a small gift. I really want to see you now. Nu. Yang Yu hung up the phone, looked at Qiao who was shaking with anger, and smiled. See? Does this man look like my dog? Thank you everyone for your monthly votes, you all saw it, thank you babies. Also, let me thank you for the reward. The newly added I Love Ren Xiaoao leader, no matter who he is, thank you leader, thank you. Thanks to Sister Shui for the 2 rewards, thanks to Xiaoao Dianu and Shuchen for 1 reward each, thanks to the 2 big rewards from the book friend whose last number is 22,955, and thanks to Tian Ruoking, who has the last number of the book friend ERER 576, the book friend's tail number is 51,201, Zuzu Sandy, Hong Chen Yuxiao, the book friend's tail number is 42,702, Lililo, Xie 70, Apple, the book friend's tail number is 00116, Xiao Beiwen, Qingqingqi and other babies rewards. Love you. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 115. Tao Ran's speech was particularly unpleasant today. Does this man look like my dog? If you look at him, it will bark. If you wave your hand, it will wag its tail. If you call it, it will cling to you. You said, this dog is not interested in me as its master. Is there any difference from my attitude toward that piece of shit like yours? So, if a dog wants to go out and eat shit, why should I stop it? How can I devalue myself to compete with a piece of shit? Tao Ran knew that Xiao Xiao had low self-esteem. The more this happens, the more she will trample on his self-esteem. So, do you still have the confidence? Do you still think you two are true love? This time, it was Tao Ran's turn to circle Xiao Xiao twice. What did he do for you? Hidden beauty in the golden house? No. Why don't you eat the free food delivered to your door? Of course you have to hide it and eat it slowly. Did he divorce because of you? Or did you give birth to a child for him? There is neither a piece of proof nor blood connection between you. What kind of true love is this? Xiao Xiao's confidence was a little weaker. Yang Yu's words touched her heart. She and Ding Yi have no marriage or children. As long as there is no real involvement, isn't it just an empty game? Tao Ran looked at her subtle expressions and knew that he had warned her in place. So what's wrong with me when I say that you two have a business relationship? It's just a credit card, and it's just a reward for you. There are people as stupid as you in the world, and you still come to your original wife with a card to show off. I just think it's funny, laugh. You are shameful and don't know it. Fool. Tao Ran continued to provoke, with the same expression and posture as in the countryside. He leaned into Xiao Xiao's ear. I told you long ago, you are no match for me. You are always destined to be defeated. If you can't defeat me, quit bar. Yang Yu. I won't let go. Xiao Xiao suppressed the anger that she let out with a slap. She handed over everyone. Why should she quit now? We'll see. Wait. There's a secret I haven't told you. Tao Ran stopped in front of her and lowered his voice. Your bag is a high imitation. She burst out laughing. A scumbag is a scumbag. How could he spend real money to buy her a designer bag? Poor Xiao Xiao can't tell the truth from the lie. The toad wore a hood and thought he was big. But it was a joke. You are short-sighted. Have you been deceived? Don't be so stupid in the future. You will be eaten to death by that man with just a few words. You saw it too, that man is, so mean. If you coax him and let him go, you will only be dishonoring your own worth and humiliating yourself. Xiao Xiao almost ran away. Why? Don't you mean working overtime? Don't you mean going on a business trip? Aren't you so busy that you don't even have time to eat? Sure enough, did Ding Yi just treat her as a plaything? Once you get her, you don't care about her anymore? She doesn't believe it. Do not believe. But she couldn't help but not believe it. She rushed to the mall and took her bag for inspection. But the salesgirl showed disdain, and Tian Tian told her, it's a fake. Imitation. Fake. Just like he did to her. But if Yang Yu treats him like that, why is he still so? At this moment, she actually felt that Ding Yi was like a pug. Pooh. No, how could she have the same idea as Yang Yu? Ding Yi is the most perfect man she has ever known in her life. She and Ding Yi were each other's first love, which is indelible. She couldn't be fooled by Yang Yu. Regardless of whether Ding Yi is true or false to him, it is true that he has suffered so much suffering and grievances. He has even lost his reputation, so he must not quit. She must get Ding Yi. She must defeat Yang Yu. What did Yang Yu say? Ding Yi refuses to divorce, but she refuses to have children? So they just exchange relationships and it's not true love? Is it because she refuses to give birth? She wants it? She had already told Ding Yi that she was willing. Xiao Xiao suddenly thought that Ding Yi had been taking birth control measures. Women should care more about this kind of thing, right? So why is he anxious? So. She shuddered, afraid that what Yang Yu said was true. It was Ding Yi who didn't want to get a divorce, so he refused to let her have children. Joke. If he doesn't divorce, Why should she follow him? How can there be a third son who doesn't want to be the main wife? Is it really cheap? Is it really true love? Scumbag. Is it irresponsible to just eat secretly? On the other hand, if she has a child, then Ding Yi, can he not get divorced? Can Yang Yu still be blind with his eyes open? Can you still say what you just said? Can you still not mind the worldly view? When the time comes, no matter whether he is in true or false love, she will win, right? Qiao Qiao seemed to have found her main direction of attack right away, giving birth to children. She's going to have a baby. She wants to use her child to gain power and take revenge. Qiao Qiao was afraid of death but could not imagine that at this moment, Yang Yu, her biggest enemy, was just like her, and his main attack direction was to make her give birth to a child. Tao Ran wanted to make the scumbag pay a heavy price and get out quickly. But in a society ruled by law, it is not easy to mess around. The most convenient thing is to arrange another de facto marriage for the scumbag, and children are not only the driving force, but also the most powerful evidence of extramarital affairs. She wanted to take the initiative and speed up the process. Therefore, this is the reason why her attitude towards Ding Yi has been getting better day by day on purpose recently. She just wants to make Qiao Qiao nervous. Therefore, she deliberately called Qiao Qiao and Ding Yi while they were having dinner. After receiving the news that Qiao Qiao was near her unit, she deliberately went in and out with Ding Yi, making Qiao Qiao extremely anxious. Even the man who bumped into Qiao Qiao was arranged by her through Zhang Chen. Therefore, when she was at home, she was close to Ding Yi. Ding Yi was busy repairing the relationship, so naturally he could not have the time or thought to appease Qiao Qiao. 5 whole days were enough to make Qiao Qiao furious. Therefore, Tao Ran and Qiao Qiao kept talking nonsense, constantly belittling her relationship with Ding Yi, and at the same time insisting that they did not dare to have children, it was not true love. Qiao Qiao is unwilling to give up and wants revenge, so using a child to bind Ding Yi is the most feasible way at the moment. Tao Ran was certain that she would do that. She just asked Qiao Qiao to be smarter and get pregnant as soon as possible, so that her next step could be carried out. In fact, in addition to putting pressure on Qiao Qiao on Ding Yi, Tao Ran also arranged for others to stimulate Qiao Qiao. For example, she deliberately let Zhang Chen's people meet Qiao Qiao in the mall a few days ago. Qiao happened to see a young man striking up a conversation with her. She was feeling proud, but she didn't expect the other person to say, "Are you from the countryside?" What's the meaning? You'll know it just by looking at it. The man deliberately glanced up and down at Qiao Qiao, shook his head slightly, and showed an indescribable smile. That day, Qiao Qiao, who was stimulated and had low self-esteem, started swiping her credit card to give herself a shopping spree. Like Ding Yi, Qiao Qiao was born with low self-esteem because of his rural background, and he always wanted to get rid of the label of country bumpkin. When Qiao Qiao's vanity and competitiveness are aroused, Ding Yi, who was already suffering from a financial deficit, will soon suffer. The more Qiao Qiao spends money by swiping his card, the more evidence the scumbag will have to transfer the joint property of the couple. Tao Ran smiled and turned off the recording from his pocket. Similarly, many of the things Qiao Qiao said just now can be used as evidence in the future. We'll see. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 116. When Tao Ran got off work, Ding Yi was already driving and waiting downstairs. "I'll drive the car." Tao Ran walked towards the driver's seat. Ding Yi could only get out of the car and walk to the passenger seat. But he couldn't open the car door. As soon as Yang Yu got in the car, she locked it inside. She rolled down the window. "I never said I would take you there. In these 2 days, I drove the car away, you can do whatever you want. Leaving Ding Yi stunned, Yang Yu stepped on the accelerator and drove away. Ha, she can be regarded as the most benevolent and righteous person, right? Chiao, I have created a good opportunity for her. The Yang family has not been in Beijing these 2 days, which relieves Ding Yi's worries. I hope they can seize the opportunity to create a good man. She accomplished multiple things with one stone and successfully recovered the car. From today on, Ding Yi will no longer be able to touch the steering wheel of this car. In addition, rooms at farmhouses and hot spring hotels, buffets and attraction tickets have all been booked, all costing Ding Yi's money. Pretty good, really. She will get back all the money that the scumbag and his family embezzled. Tao Ran drove the car directly to the car wash, washed and disinfected the car inside and out. Everything related to Ding Yi in the car was put in plastic bags and thrown into the trunk. Even the seat cushions, back cushions, and floor mats were all replaced with new ones. Then she happily set off to pick up someone. On the other side, Ding Yi had a ferocious look on his face, staring at the direction Yang Yu was leaving and gritting his teeth for more than 10 minutes. He secretly swore, Yang Yu, one day, she would pay 100 times the price for all the trampling on him. Ding Yi is out of money. He borrowed the money to prepare for today's trip from another colleague. What the hell? Feeling depressed, he called Chiao. An hour later, he showed up at the rental house with his travel bag. I'm not going on a business trip anymore. I want to spend time with you. Are you surprised? His depression and self-esteem were constantly frustrated, so he urgently needed an outlet to prove himself. So in the next moment, he pounced on the woman in front of him like a hungry tiger, and the two of them crashed into the house while entangled. They were too selfless and had their own concerns. How could they know that in the darkness at the turning corner upstairs, someone pressed the shutter of the camera one after another, and the photos that came out were of a man carrying luggage, anxiously moving into Sanner's house. What would happen if the sky returned? The effect of dry wood/fire without blackness. Chiao told Ding Yi at the critical moment that she bought medicine today. She will take the next steps and take the medicine. Ding Yi looked at it and saw that he had heard of the medicine on the bedside. It was quite convenient for him. Chiao, you are so kind, 100 times better than the mean and selfish Yang Yu. That night, Ding Yi called Yang Yu, but the other party didn't answer. He called the farmhouse again, and the waiter said that his family had checked in and was now participating in a bonfire party to roast suckling pig. It's all money. Ding Yi's heart ached so much. His heart skipped a beat and he hugged the woman next to him again. I won't go back tonight. Real. Although Chiao was happy, she always felt that something was missing. Scumbag. But now that the opportunity has come, she will naturally work hard. So, she took the initiative to join in. Ding Yi and Chiao hung out for 2 days. Chiao was particularly hard-working and tried her best. She was gentle and considerate and surrendered in every possible way, which made Ding Yi feel happy and reluctant to miss Shu. When he went back on Sunday, he whispered in Chiao's ear. It's better to stay here, relax, be happy, and have no worries. Then you have to come every day. Necessary. I love you. I love you too. On the other side, Tao Ran took Yang Yu's family for 2 days of fun. On Sunday, Zhang Chen joined them. It was the old man who called me. He said he wanted to climb a mountain and needed someone to support him. Tao Ran he, the old man's thinking is too clear. She was slightly embarrassed. But fortunately, Zhang Chen acted straightforwardly and naturally, and the whole day was quite happy. After returning to Beijing, the old man insisted on inviting Zhang Chen to dinner, so they went to eat hot pot mutton together. During the dinner, Father Yang and Mother Yang also praised Zhang Chen from time to time, but Tao Ran could only smile in response. On the other side, In order to behave well, Ding Yi had bought 2 large bags of vegetables and waited in front of Father Yang and Mother Yang's house. Tao Ran had long known from Zhang Chen that Ding Yi was waiting, but she did nothing. She didn't answer the call from Ding Yi until she was almost done eating, telling them that they would eat on the way home. Ding Yi, who had waited for almost 2 hours, was so angry that he could only go home angrily. But he waited in the cold house until midnight, and Yang Yu still hadn't returned. When I called Yang Yu, I found that the other party had turned off his phone again. Obviously, this is not going to live back home. Don't even bother to tell him. This is his wife? This is his good wife? It doesn't matter that the husband doesn't care about the house, he dominates the money and is arrogant, he doesn't care about the husband's face, he has a bad temper, and he blames the husband. What kind of wife did he marry? Comparing the warm atmosphere of the previous 2 days, thinking of the gentle Qiao Qiao, this Yang Yu is really inferior to Qiao Qiao in every way. No money, no self-esteem, no even the most basic relationship. What do you think of him, Ding Yi? When Ding Yi got angry, he overturned the table of food he had prepared to the ground. Yang Yu, I will kill you sooner or later. He gritted his teeth and smashed another vase. Of course he didn't know that the scene had been recorded by surveillance. In the following days, Yang Yu always treated Ding Yuruo as if he were away from her. When we get home, everyone lives their own lives and sleeps in their own room. And her attitude would change a little bit from time to time, leaving Ding Yi with some hope of restoring their relationship. Give me some time, please. That day, after Yang Yu was stopped by the somewhat irritable Ding Yi, she calmed him down with these words. Ding Yi nodded obediently. Ding Yi, who couldn't feel the warmth from Yang Yu, didn't feel empty in his love life because Qiao Qiao was so good. Mainly it's the feeling of being pleased, which is great. He has always had low self-esteem, but only here with Qiao Qiao, he feels that he is a hero who has the world. Have you thought about when to tell Yang Yu about the divorce? Qiao Qiao asked this question again. Fool, I said, the time has not yet come. Aren't you satisfied that my people stay with you every day? Ding Yi stopped her questioning by pressing on her, so naturally he couldn't see Qiao Qiaoan. The anger and unwillingness inside. And he has no idea that the most lovable person in the world in his eyes is plotting against him. The medicine Qiao Qiao took had long been replaced by vitamins. She worked hard to replenish his body, and also tried hard to take tonics to get pregnant as soon as possible. She is pinching her days every day. Counting the few days leading up to her ovulation period, she almost spent all her time clinging to him. Even the lunch break at noon was not missed. She has always been in good health, so it won't take long for her to gain something, right? The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 117. Ding Yi is going crazy because of money. Qiao Qiao went to buy groceries the day before yesterday, but her credit card could no longer be used to pay. This means that the card given to her has exploded. 2 credit cards, owing 40,000. Even in installments, he would have to pay back thousands this month. He still owed 5,000 from his colleagues and promised to pay it back in the next few days. My wife calls me every day asking for money, and he also promised Huang Yakin to pay off the remaining money on the IOU this week. He could only go to another bank again and apply for a credit card. After paying back the card and his colleagues, the remaining money was transferred to his family, asking his parents to quickly find Huang Yakin to settle the IOU. He told himself that he would get better soon. On this day, Ding Yi blocked the downstairs of Yang Yu's unit again when he got off work. He asked Yang Yu directly about his salary. Yang Yu was prepared and gave him an envelope. Your pocket money. Ding Yi opened it and saw that it only had 1,000 yuan. Unacceptable. That's it? Not enough? I calculated the money based on your account book. Household expenses, water, electricity, coal, car oil, and other odds and ends, the basic monthly expenses are almost 4,000, that is, each person pays 2,000. Each of you and I save another 2,000 each from your salary, which means you have to spend 4,000 from your salary. Speaking of which, your monthly salary is not 5,000 yuan. If I give you 1,000 yuan now, you have already earned it, right? You can have breakfast and lunch at work, and it doesn't cost much. 1,000 yuan is enough. If you press A and calculate it carefully, you can only get 600. I'm already very angry. According to her mentality, she only wanted to give him 300. But she still has to continue singing and not be too heartless. Don't worry, I'm the same as you. All the money has been accounted for. You can check the account at will in the future. I won't owe you a penny. Ding Yi was so angry that his throat hurt. Just as he was about to refute, the phone rang. At first glance, Huang Yakin. What? He answered. What attitude? Ding Yi, what do you say about the remaining money? Haven't everything been settled? What else do you want? Why are you still telling lies? When did you give it to me? Did I steal your money? Huang Yakin shouted. Ding Yi's expression suddenly changed. He seemed to understand. My mother didn't give you any money. Your mother? I haven't seen her for a week. When I went to your house yesterday, the door was still locked. Ding Yi was angry again. Doesn't he understand this yet? He asked my mother to settle the IOU, but his mother took the money. Auntie, wait a minute, I'll call my mother to verify. A call was made to my home, but no one answered. I called Ding Xia on her cell phone and asked, and sure enough, her mother was there. Mother Ding screamed. You brat! Isn't your family poor? Last time, all the family's money was invested in trying to get you out of the police. Do you want your parents to drink the northwest wind and starve to death? What's the need for money from doing good deeds? Then the primary school has begun to be renovated. Your mother and I passed by and saw the bags of cement piled at the door, and our hearts bleed. Every kid wants a cement field. Our ancestors came from the lowest land for generations, and we are still alive. Do you need to be well? Yi, your dad has been feeling unwell recently, and you have to give him medicinal wine. I heard someone said that a pair of medicinal wine requires. Ding Yi couldn't listen anymore and hung up directly. Doesn't he know how much his mother loves money? He knew that he would never get the money back. Just as the phone was hung up, Huang Yakin's call came again. Ding Yi, what do you say? Auntie, wait for me. I'll give it to you next week. But the construction has already started. Ding Yi, you earn more than 10,000 yuan a month, you are not short of this little money. Why are you in trouble? Next week. Forget it, I'll tell Yang Yu. This time it was Huang Yakin who hung up the phone. Then, Yang Yu's cell phone rang while she was picking up a courier at the security office downstairs of the company, which scared Ding Yi so much that his legs went weak. Sister Yang Yu answered with a smile. What made you think of calling me? Ding Yi stepped forward quickly. Is it Aunt Huang? Tao Ran nodded. I also want to say a few words. Is that okay? Ding Yi stretched out his hand. Sister, I'll call you later. Tao Ran closed the phone. Go ahead and call your own phone. Then she drove away. Ding Yi breathed a sigh of relief and quickly called Huang Yakin. Auntie, I beg you, don't call Yang Yu. Now you know it's urgent. I'll give it. Tomorrow, I'll give it tomorrow. Is that okay? Then tomorrow morning at the latest. I'm in a hurry to buy building materials. Auntie, when Yang Yu calls you later. Don't worry. Your aunt and I are tight-lipped. I won't say anything bad about you, just tell the truth. Ding Yi grabbed the Qian Kui in his hand and wished he could tear it all apart. At this time, it was too late for him to apply for a credit card. What can be done? Borrow money. He called a colleague with whom he had a good relationship, but the guy only lent him 2,000 after struggling for a long time. Didn't you just get paid? Can you lend me some more? Brother, I also have a wife and children to support. Unlike you, my wife is rich and beautiful. The man was rolling his eyes. Ding Yi was choked. In a word, do you want it? Want? 2,000, just 2,000. As everyone knows, his colleague was not unwilling to borrow it, but he was unsure. Ding Yi has borrowed it a lot in the office in the past half month. Among them, the person loaned him 20,000 yuan without any hesitation, but he still delayed it for several days. Everyone can see that Ding Yi has financial problems. Ding Yi called another former roommate. After being ridiculed several times by the other party, he borrowed 3,000. Still not enough. When he went to the rental house, Qiao asked him thoughtfully what was wrong and if there was anything he could do to help him. I lent money to a colleague. He promised to give it to me today, but he didn't pay it back. But I have to pay back the credit card. Qiao, can you lend me 5,000 for emergency use? Qiao's expression remained unchanged, but in her heart she wanted to tear her mouth to pieces. How could she say no? Qiao could only nod. Then he went to withdraw money with Ding Yi. But Ding Yi actually followed her to the cash machine. Qiao glanced at him. He had no intention of avoiding suspicion. He looked so natural and smiled, Qiao couldn't tell him to go away. After all, he swiped his credit card as he pleased, so you can't act like you can't trust him, right? Qiao turned sideways slightly, but Ding Yi directly put his head on her shoulder. Qiao could only bite the bullet and type. Ding Yi took a look at the password and balance. In the following days, Ding Yi went through repeated debts, borrowing money and demolishing the east wall to pay for the west wall. Although the money from the IOU has been paid off, the living expenses in the rental house are still quite high. Rent, water, electricity, coal, food, and drink for him and Qiao. He was already very economical, but his debts were snowballing like a snowball. He also hated Yang Yu even more. If she hadn't been aggressive about taking away her savings, and if he hadn't been afraid of her making trouble, how could he have ended up in his current situation? The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 118. Qiao also became increasingly dissatisfied with Ding Yi. The two of them were together, basically staying in the rental house. What about the promised happy days? Is it just to stay at home to eat, drink and sleep? This is obviously not what Qiao wants. Except for the first few days when he arrived in the capital, he took her out for a play. After that, he became more and more perfunctory. Not only did he not even invite her out to eat, he even refused to buy takeout, and asked her to cook and stir-fry every day. On this day, Qiao finally got angry. She married him to live the life of a rich wife. But why should he be so obedient to Yang Yu? Why should Yang Yu be able to eat well and drink hot food, but she has to wait at home every day? Did she come to the capital to cook, wash clothes and wash dishes for him? She is not even as good as Sanur. The three sons are living like a young mistress. Give me back the 5,000. I'm in a bad mood and want to go out for a few days. I'll give it to you when I get paid. In order to coax the woman, Ding Yi could only agree to take her on a weekend trip to the surrounding area. When Qiao saw that Ding Yi signed up for a tour group instead of driving, her heart almost broke. Yang Yu was going out that day, and he had tried his best to plan and prepare. Now that it was up to him, wasn't this too perfunctory? Where's your car? Yang Yu's parents are not in good health, so they gave it to her. Go get it back. Then I will have to be busy picking up her parents every day, and I won't have time to accompany you. Are you willing? Ding Yi has lied too much, and it has become a habit. This lie almost came out of his mouth. Ding Yi was also good at coaxing people. He hugged Qiao Qiao and recalled the past, and Qiao Qiao became obedient again. Tao Ran naturally knew that the two of them had gone out to fool around. So she arranged for Yang's father, Yang's mother, and the old man to go to the hospital together for a full-body checkup. While in the hospital, she called Ding Yi. "Where are you? What are you busy with this weekend?" I'm at my colleague's house." "What's wrong?" "It's nothing. I just want to tell you that I won't go back to stay tonight." "Good." Ding Yi didn't know that this call was recorded. And Tao Ran had another piece of evidence in his hands. On the day his father-in-law and mother-in-law were admitted to the hospital, the scumbag lied to his first wife, but in fact he accompanied his third son on a trip and did not return for 2 nights. So, after Ding Yi came home on Sunday, Tao Ran became furious and told the story about his parents going to the hospital. Ding Yi panicked. Unexpectedly, Yang Yu changed the subject again and started asking him when he would pay back the 100,000 he had taken for investment, and where was the certificate. "Where is the profit?" Ding Yi hesitated. "Is your colleague a liar? Why haven't you gotten your money back yet?" I can't withdraw that money now, but I can withdraw a little profit first." "How much profit?" 1,000. "Is there something wrong with you? An investment of 100,000 yuan only resulted in a return of 1,000 yuan. The cycle has not come. Then you take it back." "I don't want anything in return. I just want the principal." We can't do things like this. This way, others won't be able to make money. Please tell me when the principal can be withdrawn as soon as possible." 6 months. Too long. I'll do it as soon as possible." "Ding Yi, tomorrow you go and withdraw 1,000 yuan in return, and then in 1 month, by the beginning of June, please withdraw at least 20,000 yuan in principal. Otherwise, I will sue your colleague. Sue him for fraud. Also, tomorrow, I want to see your investment book. What did you invest, where did you invest, what is the share, and what is the return? Please show it to me." After Tao Ran left such a big problem to Ding Yi, he clapped his hands and left. The next night, Ding Yi came back with a plan. This is confidential. You can only read it. After reading it, I have to take it back quickly." "I know, go ahead and cook." Tao Ran sat on the sofa and read seriously. Ding Yi poked his head in to look at her from time to time, and when he saw that she was simply reading the report word for word, he gradually felt relieved. When Ding Yi wasn't paying attention, Tao Ran pulled out a small digital camera from the sleeves of his wide pajamas, clicked, and took a picture of the plan. After taking the photo, she threw the plan on the coffee table and returned to the room. Does she care about money? Does she want a plan? What she wants is evidence that Ding Yi forged documents to defraud and transfer shared property. There is also a fake official seal on this plan. Ding Yi is doomed. Another item in her revenge plan has been fulfilled. Now she has everything ready, all she needs is the seed in Qiao Qiao's belly. By that time, when she completes the final blow, the world will almost be over. In the next month, Tao Ran didn't give Ding Yi any good looks at all. Ding Yi's financial pressure also increased, and he applied for 2 more credit cards. Now, with 5 credit cards in his hand, he still feels like he doesn't have enough money. After returning Qiao Qiao's 5,000 yuan and giving him an extra 3,000 yuan in pocket money, and paying a large amount of expenses, Qiao Qiao finally did her best for him again. After giving 20,000 yuan to Yang Yu, his wife, who had not spoken to him for a long time, finally smiled at him. Ding Yi saw it and felt only irony and disgust. Recently, his hatred for Yang Yu has almost reached its peak. He tells himself every day that sooner or later, he will take back everything he has given now. We'll see. Tao Ran smiled brightly, took an envelope with his backhand and threw it out to Ding Yi. Ding Yi's pocket money finally increased from 1,000 to 1,001. After swiping the credit card backwards and paying it back, after deducting the interest and pouring out all the money in the card, Ding Yi finally had several $1,000s in hand. He could finally breathe. But Yang Yu spoke again and continued to ask for the remaining investment money. This opening is another 20,000. I'll give it to you next month, Ding Yi said bitterly. A dead pig is not afraid of boiling water. Anyway, it just means more credit card matters. By the end of June, Tao Ran finally received the good news. Qiao went to the pharmacy and bought pregnancy test strips. The next day, she went to the hospital and was admitted to the gynecology department. After coming out, Qiao held her belly and seemed to be crying with joy. Instead of taking the bus, she took a taxi to the market and bought a chicken. Everything in Ding Yi was as usual. Obviously, Qiao still had some sense and had not told Ding Yi about having a child for the time being. It's already July in the blink of an eye. In mid-July, Ding's father, Ding's mother, and Ding Xia arrived as scheduled. The first is that he is still thinking about watching the Olympics, the second is that he wants to rebuild the relationship with Yang Yu, the third is that he hopes that the Yang family can help Ding Xia and his wife solve work problems, the fourth is, of course, that they are still thinking about the previous exchange between Yang Yu and Ding Yi. The house that came down. As long as they live in it, who has the ability to kick them out? Wouldn't that house belong to them sooner or later? They had inquired about it and found out that housing prices in Beijing had skyrocketed. In just a few months, the house had risen by almost 1,000 yuan per square meter. What kind of work can they do in the fields to make money as quickly as guarding the house? Mother Ding has long regarded this house as a treasure. Some babies said that in meaningless hydrology, please explain. Each of the current items will be used later. Some are fuses, some are pushers, and some will be used as evidence later. If you are anxious, I suggest you read the entire article together. Comparison. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 119. Faced with a group of Ding family members who were planning to move into the old house, Yang Yu expressed regret. That house is rented out. Why didn't I know? Ding Yi stood up suddenly. The day we rented it out was the day my parents went to the hospital. I originally wanted you to come over, but you said you were busy at a colleague's house and you forgot, who wouldn't lie? Tao Ran crossed his arms and felt confident. Ding Yi remembered. He and Qiao were traveling abroad that day. He suddenly felt guilty, but you know full well that your parents will come to watch the Olympics and need a place to live. Didn't you promise to leave that house to them before? Are you afraid that you have a bad memory? Ding Yi, you are the son-in-law who lives here. I have no obligation to support your parents. With Tao Ran's words, all the Ding family members choked. If I were you, I'd rent a house quickly. But the Olympics are coming, and it's not easy to rent a house now. It's extremely expensive anyway, she wouldn't pay a penny. Ding Yi still didn't believe it and went to the old house himself. Only then did he realize that the door lock had been changed and his key couldn't open it at all. And when the locks were changed, he had no idea. Recently, because everyone is running in two directions, there is not enough time. How can he have the time and attention to take care of this? Knocked on the door and the door opened. Then Ding Yi's legs went weak. And. The one who opened the door was not Huang Yakin. Why are you here? Ding Yi cursed in his heart. He never expected that the renter would be the person he least wanted to offend. What? Not welcome? No way. It's good to have acquaintances here in Beijing, right? Huang Yakin smiled openly. Why didn't you tell me that you were here? Did you keep in touch with Yang Yueshang? Don't worry, I am the most reliable person. How can I not know what I can say and what I cannot say? Huang Yakin said with her heart in her arms. Scumbag, be careful. If you dare to be unkind, you will cooperate with Yang Yuebe. Righteous. Ding Yi grinned at his molars and gave an ugly smile. Auntie, do you live here? Huang Yakin, yes. We rent this house a few days ago. She insisted on paying rent, but Yang Yu insisted that she would only charge her 100 yuan a month at most, otherwise they would be kicked out. It was the first time that she and her son were traveling alone. When they were about to go out, they couldn't even find him in the north, south, east, or west, so they agreed in a daze. Speaking of which, Yang Yu is really an honest person. The school supplies that Yang Yu bought for Lei Er in the past few months were very useful. Later, he also bought an electronic dictionary for his son that could look up words, which helped them a lot. She and her husband are very grateful to Yang Yu. This time too. In June, Yang Yu asked about her son's vacation time and said he would book air tickets for them. How could they be so shameless and refused? Later, Yang Yu picked them up at the train station and took them to climb the Great Wall, eat roast duck and mutton, and made an appointment to go to Qingbei University this weekend. Yang Yu was so happy that she was naturally upright. Huang Yakin had already completely sided with Yang Yu. Ding Yi, oh, are you, mother and son, the only ones who live here? Ding Yi looked at the room and saw no one else. That's good. After all, there are only two people, mother and son. Then he only needs to rent a small apartment for them to live in, and move this apartment out to his parents, Ding Xia and the others. At worst, he will charge Huang Yakin less rent. Huang Yakin, that's not true. My wife is also coming, and if nothing else, he will bring my mother-in-law and daughter with him. They are all coming to watch the Olympics. He will come over after he finishes what he is doing. How could she not know what Ding Yi was thinking? Want her to go? Dream. Therefore, there are a lot of them, so it's just right to live here. Not only are they not moving, they won't be leaving until at least August. Moreover, they don't want to leave such a nice house. Yang Yu is very attentive and has prepared all daily necessities, which is much better than a big hotel. Huang Yakin also went to Yang Yu's mother's house for a meal a few days ago and found out that the conditions of Yang Yu's family were so good, and Ding Yi was the bride-in-law, and Yang Yu's son was also named Yang, not Ding. She was shocked at the time. Ding Yi, a soft-boiled man, and the Ding family are all habitual liars, and they are nothing. Pooh. That day, he defrauded the village of loans, defrauded the village of labor, and defrauded everyone of sympathy. How shameless! Ding Yi, have you lived for so long? What should I do at home? Are you all so free? Young boy Lei Er has been playing for so long that he has lost track of his studies. Huang Yakin, what nonsense are you talking about? We came to the capital to study. Yang Yu heard that Lei Er was not good at English, so she enrolled him in an English class in the capital. There is no such training in their town. When my son came back, he said that he was very professional. The teachers were all teaching graduates and they were very good. He is cute and learned. Thinking of this, Huang Yakin couldn't help but warn, Ding Yi, do you know? Qiao has been missing for several months. I heard about it. She didn't come to see you, did she? No, why did she come to me? It's okay if you don't. Yang Yu is much better than Qiao, so don't be confused. I know. It's good to know. Huang Yakin's eyes were a little sharp. Ding Yi was so flustered that he just wanted to leave quickly and didn't dare to say another word. He knew that Huang Yakin had just warned him. Besides shutting up and getting out of here, What else could he do? Huang Yakan, whether it was for himself or the Ding family, he couldn't afford to offend her. Qiao never expected that Ding Yi, who had prepared dinner for her, hugged her as soon as she walked in and bought her flowers and gifts. But her surprise had just happened when Ding Yi said, Qiao, my parents are here in Beijing. Do you want to leave Beijing for a while first? What? Ding Yi looked pitiful. I can't help it. Too many people came at once, and I can't fit in my house. So you plan to let them live here? Qiao was dumbfounded. Isn't your home a big living room? How come you can't live in it? Even if you can't live in it, you can still let Yang Yu live in your parents' house. Why did you just let her leave? You also know that Yang Yu has a bad temper. She and Ding Xia have conflicts. They quarrel whenever they meet. They can't live together at all. You are different. You have a good temper, a big belly, and are considerate and kind. He is better than Yang Yu in taking care of people. Don't worry, it's only for a little more than a month. Ding Yi naturally asked Yang Yu to let her live with her parents. But Yang Yu refused directly, without even giving an explanation. It's not like Ding Yi hasn't thought about renting a house, but this is the year of the Olympics, and the prices of hotels and accommodations in the entire capital are constantly rising. The price of renting a house was prohibitive for him, let alone a hotel. He thought about it. After his parents and sister arrived, he didn't have time to find Qiao. He also had to avoid being discovered by his parents that he and Qiao were together, so the best solution was to let Qiao avoid it first, just enough for my parents to live in, so I can do more than one thing with one stone. Then he can be more relaxed, whether in terms of time, money, or energy. Seeing his hopeful eyes, Qiao was so angry that her whole body trembled. Thanks to Tokyo Blues and Mr. Runda for the big reward. Thanks to the book Friends Baby with the last number 22,576 and the bookstore Ian's Daily Corpse Baby for the reward. Thank you all for your monthly votes, thank you. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 120. Ding Yi handed Qiao 3,000 yuan and started packing her luggage without her consent. Are you going back to your hometown for a while? Come back in the autumn. Ding Yi felt relieved after saying this. I'll buy you a ticket. I have to leave today. Ding Yi smiled, it's best to leave now. Immediately. Let's go today. Let his parents move in early, and he can save money on 2 rooms tonight. The recent housing prices are too high, so it's worth saving a fortune. I'll book a ticket for you right away. Ding Yi, are you treating me like this? Don't make trouble. Isn't this something we can't do? You and I really love each other, so we can't live together here. Please help me. Please. Seeing Ding Yi stuffing her clothes into the suitcase, Qiao's heart clenched. Ding Yi was anxious to send her away, and it only took him 10 minutes to pack all her luggage indiscriminately. Qiao was almost dragged downstairs by him and pushed into the taxi. She couldn't buy a train ticket for the same day, so he actually bought her a long-distance ticket to her hometown in the provincial capital and sent her to the station. Qiao was shaking with anger. He let her take that kind of car alone? He's not worried about her safety at all? What love? It's all bullshit. The 4 members of the Ding family just moved into Qiao's rental house. Although it is quite exquisite, it is a bit small after all, with only 1 room. The 4 of them were very dissatisfied with this. You know, when they came back to the capital, they lived in an old house with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. It was fully equipped, not to mention how comfortable it was. But now here, hey, there is only 1 air conditioner. How can we make their stay comfortable? That night, Ding's father and Ding's mother stayed in the room, while Ding Xia and her husband made a bed on the floor in the living room. The younger son sleeps on the sofa. Old Dingtu went to the toilet at night and stepped on Ding Xia, who was awakened by old Dingtu and could not sleep. When Ding's father and Ding's mother got up early in the morning, they woke up Ding Xia and 3 others who were still sleeping. In short, all 5 of them looked unhappy. What might be done? They can't just ask the village chief and his wife to get out and move space for them, right? Besides being patient, I still have no choice but to endure. Just as Mother Ding was about to get up to make breakfast, the doorbell rang. Several people thought it was Ding Yi. They were about to say that the boy finally had some conscience and knew enough to invite them to breakfast, but Mother Ding, who opened the door, exploded. She was dumbfounded as soon as she opened the door. The person standing at the door was not his son, but Jiao Jiao. Jiao Jiao, whom I haven't seen in almost 3 months. Jiao Jiao is standing at the door with full confidence. Little bitch. Just as she was about to curse, Jiao Jiao put her finger to her lips and shushed. This is the capital. Do you want to make the matter between me and Ding Yi known to everyone? I may not suffer, but he will. Mother Ding had no choice but to swallow back the curses that came to her mouth. What happened? Where did the little bitch come from? With luggage? Came today? What are you doing here? What is she planning? How did she know this place? How dare she come? Could it be that she contacted Ding Yi? In just 1 second, Ding's mother's mind was filled with all kinds of questions. If you don't want to be beaten, get out of here. Don't get excited. I'll give you 2 choices. Jiao Jiao crossed her arms and laughed. Either you politely let me in, or I'll go directly to Ding Yi. Mother Ding stretched out her hand and pinched it. I'm warning you, stay away from our Ding Yi, or I will kill you. Jiao Jiao screamed in pain. Say it again, get out. Ah! She shouted louder. Still not leaving, Mother Ding grabbed the broom. But before she made a move, the door opposite clicked and opened. Xiao Jiao. What's wrong? A woman stuck her head out and looked at Mother Ding up and down. Aunt Wang, it's okay. I'm sorry that I disturbed you. This is my mother. She came from the country. She was just playing around with me. Oh, okay. Keep your voices down. The woman retracted her head and closed the door. Mother Ding was completely dumbfounded and froze on the spot. Of course she saw something was wrong. Does the neighbor of this rental house know Jiao Jiao? And call her Xiao Jiao? Jiao Jiao often comes here? Could it be that my son has been hanging out with Jiao Jiao? Could this be a place where these 2 people hang out? No wonder the room smelled so good. The basins and foot baths were all pink, the sheets and quilt covers were either red or yellow, and even the sofa covers were made of lace. Her son said they were left by the landlord. She thought at the time that the landlord was very wealthy. Everything from grain and oil condiments to medicines, mosquito coils, and laundry detergents and soaps were left behind. Thinking about it now, Mother Ding shuddered. Dying. 2 evildoers. If you touch me again, I will call the police. The shameless person will definitely not be me. Jiao Jiao straightened her waist, knocked Ding's mother away, and walked into the house dragging the box with her feet. Mother Ding was afraid that the cat's eyes on the opposite side were watching her, so she could only close the door quickly. Ding Xia just finished washing up and exploded when she saw it was Jiao Jiao. She was about to pounce, but Mother Ding pulled her away. Mother Ding blocked Jiao Jiao at the door. What's going on? Tell me quickly. Be polite to me. Jiao Jiao smiled. This is my house. Fart. Although Mother Ding said something tough, she didn't have enough confidence. See for yourself. Jiao Jiao threw her rental contract into Ding's mother's hands. I have rented this house for almost 3 months. I have already paid the rent for the next 3 months. You are living in my house. When renting a house that day, Ding Yi was afraid of getting into trouble, so naturally he would not use his ID card. Therefore, the name of the renter has always been Chiao Chiao. So if you dare to be arrogant again, I will beat you out with a Yao Yao Ling. If you break into a house without permission, you will be arrested. By then, you will have to spend a lot of money. Chiao Chiao's words immediately made the 4 Ding family members who gathered around him take 2 steps back in shock, and all looked at the contract. Chiao Chiao laughed. What do these people fear most? She knew them, of course. Last time Ding Yi got into trouble and lost $20,000. Hearing that they might be imprisoned was enough to frighten these people. As long as money is involved, it is their real weakness. Mother Ding urged Ding Xia and his wife to read the contract carefully. The contract procedures are complete, and a copy of the ID card is attached at the back, so there is indeed no problem. Chiao Chiao raised her chin and sat down on the sofa. If you want me to leave, it's not impossible. Give me the rent with 3 mortgages and 1 mortgage. By the way, it must be at the current market price. Otherwise, the initiative is in my hands, and I have the final say. Several people were so angry that they could only gasp for air. They heard yesterday that housing prices in Beijing have skyrocketed recently. Who can afford to rent a small apartment like this that costs several thousand a month? Could this contract be forged by you? Let me tell you, this is illegal. Just call the police and we'll find out. Ding's father signaled to Ding Xia, call your brother and tell that beast to get over here. Wait a minute, Chiao Chiao stopped them. Before Ding Yi comes, we can talk.